What's up, everybody? Welcome to Chronicles with Chef. I'm Scott Hamilton, and in today's video we are going to make a ton of breakfast burritos, production line style. We're going to crank these out. We got chicken and waffle, Philly cheesesteak, and a vegetarian version. It's going to be awesome. Let's get cooking. Let's talk pepper prep. I like to cut the tops and the bottoms off of my pepper, and then I like to come into the side and roll my knife kind of through as I open up the pepper, and so that I can remove all those ribs and all the seeds. This is all about using as much of the pepper as we possibly can. So I'm gonna run my knife through everything. Bottoms, easy to do. And then a good little tip here is you wanna make sure that you go through skin side down on the cutting board. It's gonna make your knife cut through those bigger chunks of bell pepper way easier. For the top, I like to use my knife and have it go all the way around the stem, and we're gonna repeat that process because we're gonna cut a bunch of peppers for these Philly cheesesteak burritos, and all the colors are beautiful and they're all unique flavors, and they're really gonna complement that hot pepper tune that we're using for this. We don't need a whole lot of garlic, but we're gonna throw some on because we're gonna saute these separately. Look how beautiful that looks all together. Onion prep is pretty simple. Cut the top and the bottom off, and then we're gonna cut it in half. Give it a good peel, and then just run my knife through it, following the natural curve of the onion. For marinating our shaved beef for the Philly cheesesteak, we're gonna use some hot pepper tune, some King's Peak from High Desert Kitchen, a little bit of oil, and then throw in our shaved beef, give that a good mix. Then we're gonna double it down. We're gonna add a little bit more hot pepper, a little more King's Peak, a little more oil, and then we're gonna add a splash of mustard just for fun. And we're gonna let this sit overnight. To save a little time and make my life a little easier, I bought pre-sliced mushroom. I had an early start tomorrow morning, so I wanna get as much done the day before as I possibly can. Hit them with a little Bonneville seasoning from High Desert Kitchen. And I'm not gonna use any oil in these. We're gonna do a dry roasting so they get nice and caramelized and get as much moisture out, because it's gonna soak up all the moisture from these onions and peppers that we're gonna add to them. A little King's Peak seasoning and Bonneville on the onion. The heat of the griddle and the sun threw a little curveball when it overheated my camera. So here are the finished product with the peppers and onions. We're gonna let this cool overnight and be ready for tomorrow's cooking. All right, it's about 4:30 in the morning. Started about an hour, half hour ago. We're making breakfast burritos. First up, we got our Philly cheesesteak one. Let's see how it goes. Let's get cooking. Before we actually get to that Philly cheesesteak burrito, we're gonna do a vegetarian version of that. We got peppers and onions and mushrooms reheating because we hard cooked those the day before. Makes this process a whole lot easier this morning. Now for our eggs, it's very simple. I'm not gonna salt and pepper because we got all sorts of flavor in those peppers and onions, and all that flavor and salt and everything from those peppers, onions, and mushrooms is going to just coat these eggs, especially as we mix them all together. It's gonna be a beautiful blend. So we wanna make sure that we don't over salt. I'm only gonna cook these eggs about 80% of the way through because I don't want them to overcook, especially while they're hanging out in this bowl. I do mix them with cream cheese. I think it does a couple of things. One, it helps keep them nice and rich and creamy, but also prevents them from overcooking and kind of gives them a custardy vibe while in the burrito. Tater tots instead of hash browns, such a win. I love that they break up and they get soft and crunchy bits, so the textures are absolute fire. Little King's Peak is gonna go a long way on those for just added seasoning. Now on our tortillas, we got some hot pepper tune. We're gonna spread that out. And then we're just gonna layer all of these ingredients. I'm a big component of trying to get everything kind of mixed together or spread out the same way, with our cheese going in the middle so it gets melty. But I like to make sure that you're getting a little bit of everything in every bite of your burrito. Now we're gonna give ourselves a nice little tuck and fold, roll it up. You wanna make sure you don't overfill them so that they're very easy to roll up. Once we get all of our burritos wrapped up, I'm gonna use these foil sheets to wrap them all up so I can throw them on my smoker as a warmer. Of course, we're gonna hit them with some labels so that when people pick out their burritos, they know what they're getting. All right, let's get working on our delicious Philly cheesesteak burritos. We're gonna throw down our shaved beef. It's already marinated, so we don't have to worry about too much there. We got a little oil on the griddle, but we're not gonna cook this all the way through. Again, similar to our idea with our eggs, we don't want to overcook. So I'm not looking for this to be perfectly browned or perfectly cooked all the way through. It's gonna cook throughout this entire process of it hanging out and in the smoker and everything, so we're not gonna worry about that. Again, we have so much flavor happening with the meat and everything else. I'm not stressed about these eggs getting salt and pepper, but I am using a garlic and chive cream cheese, so that's gonna add some flavor and some tang and everything. So those are gonna be fire. We're making a lot of these, so we've got our hot pepper tube going down again, and we've got layers and layers of tortillas. As we're laying out all of our ingredients and making sure that we layer them correctly, we've got our potatoes, we've got our eggs, and we want to make sure that the cheese is going to go kind of in the middle, because I want it melty and ooey gooey in the middle of it, not wrapped around the outside of the tortilla. This whole setup screams Philly cheesesteak to me, and I know it's not exactly a Philly cheesesteak, but I think it's close enough, and I think it's gonna hit the spot. They rolled up beautifully. The steamy eggs and all the heat, all the ingredients really helped make the tortillas a little bit more malleable and easy to roll up. Again, we're gonna hit them with the foil, get them ready for that smoker. It's only set to 200, so it's just gonna keep them nice and warm. All right, so 5 in the morning now. We're on to our second burritos. We got our chicken and waffle breakfast burrito working right now. Let's get cooking. We're gonna get these chicken nugget things in the oven to get them cooking. I did this while I was doing other burritos, so the timing was all good for everything. We're also gonna toast off our waffles to make it a little bit easier. I don't have to do like little mini toasters or anything like that. We're gonna run my knife through the chicken. I just want it to get down to bite size, but I also want to keep all that breaded. I want those crunchy fried chicken bits throughout the burrito, so we want to make sure we have all of that. Some King's Peak and a little Escalante going on our chicken here, just to kind of combine and bring in those orange and cinnamon and spices that are going to match the hot bourbon maple syrup that we're going to add to this later on. We're going to throw down some peppers and onions and some more traditional country style hash browns, just wanting that texture to be throughout and kind of give it the feel of an entire plate of chicken and waffle breakfast kind of vibe. We're gonna put eggs on this. I was in a struggle bus here at the end of this cooking process. I didn't get any of the burnt part of the eggs into the things, but I was struggling with making this thing non-stick, and we're gonna blame me being up since like 3:30 in the morning to start this whole cooking process. We're gonna blame it on that. Regular cream cheese is going into these eggs, making sure we get that nice creamy custard-like egg in the breakfast burrito. We're gonna run the knife through our waffles real quick, getting them to a nice bite size. All right, let's get these tortillas down so that we can start building these delicious chicken and waffle breakfast burritos. Now, eggs go down first, waffles are gonna go next to kind of help protect the chicken, and also I wanna soften up those waffles a little bit. The chicken, we wanna make sure it's staying moist, but crunchy bits if we can. Hot bourbon maple syrup is a win on this one. It was so perfect for it. The waffles made it a little challenging to wrap these guys up because they kept poking through, but all in all, it turned out great, delicious, and this is how you make 50 plus burritos so you can go golfing with good friends. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed seeing how these burritos got made, and it inspired you to kind of crank out some awesome burritos in big batches like this too one day. Like, subscribe, do all those fun things, and we'll see you next time.